How's it going, everybody? Happy Thursday. Welcome to the live stream. We're so happy you're joining us. Today's gonna be a little different. We're not gonna be doing the traditional presentation. We have a couple of videos we're gonna play shortly after this. So sit back, enjoy, grab some popcorn if that's how you watch our shows every day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you at the end to sign off.
This is Mallett Buildings, coming with you on a tour of my truss plant. One of the advantages of going with Mallett is we're actually going to be a truss manufacturer and also the one supplying the materials and building the building. So this is where it all starts. The roof is going to be held up or supported by a truss. As you see here, that is a truss. That's a common truss. Now we do vaulted trusses. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up these pegs. You see they do have a bolt that you can loosen, and this slides back and forth. They tighten those to the correct spots, making a jig. Then they lay the 2x8s across this, and they hammer in truss plates, connecting the two pieces of lumber together. Whenever they get all the pieces of lumber connected and the truss plates hammered down, this press, which slides, is going to go across that truss and press those truss plates in. Then these arms are going to lift up and throw the truss over to this side. These rollers are automatic and they feed this double press over here. That's actually what this gentleman is greasing up, is the rollers. So once it's fed into here, this is going to be a double press. It presses from both sides. As you can see, press on the bottom, press on the top. That's set to 1.5 inches, which is conveniently the size or the width of a 2x8. So once that passes through there, boom, beautiful scissor truss, rated for 170 mile per hour wind load. Very, very strong. You see that 2x8? Any truss now built by Mallett is going to be a 2x8 scissor truss standard. Of course you could still do these flat bottom trusses, but look at that. Why would you want to? This is almost 5 foot of additional clearance here. So definitely maximizes the space that you have. Same building, but more room to go up. Before the wood makes it to the truss table, it's not cut, it's not measured and cut by hand. It gets designed by one of our engineers. It's looked over by the Alpine engineers. All of our trusses are third-party inspected and engineered, and then our in-house engineers look at it as well. Once they've designed it and they've been approved, the design communicates with this computer right here. We then feed this machine 20-foot 2x8s, and this saw is going to measure using laser. So the 20-foot 2x8 is brought in. This measures it and cuts the 20-foot boards in the most efficient manner. Those boards are spit out here. They bring them to there, and they're actually going to build those trusses. We build all different size trusses. Standards are going to be a 30-foot truss, as you see there, a 40-foot truss, as you see here. We also do 50s, 60s, and then above me is going to be a 66-foot wide truss. We're limited to that because of the size of this truss table, not because of the engineering standards. So if you have any questions, please let us know.
Hi, come on in and let's take a walk around in our barn dominium build. My name's Tim Tackett, and I'm a Mallett Buildings customer, and you're here today to take a look at our Mallett premium building. It's a 5,500 square foot barn dominium that was put up last August. What made us decide to go with the barn dominium and Mallett Buildings? Well, my wife is originally from Louisiana, so we were living up in Ohio, where I worked for the last 36 years in commercial nuclear power. And I met her following Katrina, and I always promised her that we would move back to Louisiana because I spent 2 years here back in the early 80s, and I love the state. So about 5 years ago, we started planning for our barn dominium and had our floor plans and our drawings and everything created. And then I started looking for regional builders to construct our building, and spent about a year going through various bids from different builders in the area. We looked at stick built, we looked at red iron, but we pretty much was sure that we wanted to go with post frame construction. My background has always been in field engineering and construction, electrical, mechanical, and civil structural, so I was very versed on the different types of construction. And after we went through all the bids, and there wasn't anybody that could match what Mallett Buildings could offer us as from a standpoint of what was included for the square foot cost. Their methods of construction were far superior to anybody else. The fact that a big thing that really caught my attention, two things. One was their cable system that goes in the slab to anchor the posts together. And the other thing that really intrigued me was the fact that they own their own truss plant. And that's just something that you just don't see with builders. And with their warehousing, they keep all their materials in stock so they don't rely on third party. So they're not sitting around waiting for a load of lumber to be delivered to them and then delivered to your job site. So Mallett was just head and shoulders above everybody else. And you know, we've been in this building for the last 12 months now. We're slowly converting it over into livable residence space on the other half of the building. I'm standing in the shop right now, and we love the building. I mean, we haven't had any leaks. We went through Hurricane Francine last year, and this thing was just rock solid. So, I mean, we're ecstatic and very, very happy with our choice with Mallett Buildings. Our building is a 50-foot wide by 110-foot long building. We have a 10-foot gable extension out front. We have a 10-foot wing extension out front. So the enclosed part of the building is 50 wide by 90 feet long. So right now we're in what's going to be the residence section, and it is a 50 by 50, so it's 2,500 square foot. And we went with 10-foot high eave walls on the sides in the residence, and we went with our trusses on common trusses on 2-foot centers so that it is ready for sheetrock. So we don't have to do any additional furring or anything like that. When we get ready to hang our sheetrock, we can go straight up on the bottom of the trusses with our sheetrock. And the beauty of post frame construction, as you could see here, is that it's clear span construction, so you don't have any load bearing walls on the inside of it. So it's very, very simple that when you go to frame out the inside of your building, your perimeter walls, all you do, it's very similar to this wall right here. This is going to be our firewall. You just stud out in between the posts, and then you go in with your wiring and your insulation and your plumbing, and you're ready to hang sheetrock. So it uses the entire structure of the building. It's fully incorporated in your structure. It's not like red iron where you actually have to build another building inside of your building. So it just becomes basically a shed that your house is built in. So this part of the building here, our building is laid out on a open floor plan. So our main part of the living area is going to be about a 30 by 35 that is completely open. So that's going to encompass where the kitchen is, the living area is, where my wife's pool table is going to go over here. And we're only going to have two primary walls. There's going to be one wall that runs down through here on this side, and then there's another wall that runs down through here on this side. So we'll have a bedroom over here, storage room, laundry. This entire area over here is going to be our master suite, and then there's going to be a guest bathroom, a second bedroom over here, and then we're going to have our doggy kennel room over here in the far corner over there, so our little puppies have some place to hang out at in the air conditioning when we get it done. So this is on the shop side, or the house side of the building. So let's go back here and take a look in the shop side. Now it's a little bit different because we went with 16-foot high eave walls in the shop, and we went with scissor trusses in here. So I have about just shy of 20 foot of vertical clearance, which is going to be great for us because I've got a 4-post lift. I've got a 1,000-pound gantry crane, and I've got some other additional lifts in here that take up overhead space on that. As you can see over here, this is some of my tractor collection here. That's what this is mainly going to be for here. I still have quite a few other tractors and antique engines up in Ohio to fill this area up. And we put in a storage mezzanine up here. This is actually a third bathroom over here. It's going to be on the shop side. It has a full bath in it, shower. It has wash area in there, storage area. It could also serve as a laundry area. That's what is right now until we get the next part started up. So this side is nearly complete. The only thing I have left to hang in here is the lights and the ceiling fans. And then we'll be putting our fifth wheel right in here so that we will be staying in the fifth wheel while we finish out the residence side. So as soon as it comes inside of here, then we're going to start the framing over on the house side. So work toward completing that. So out back under the wing extension, this is where I keep my tractors and a lot of my other equipments, my fueling station, lawnmowers, log splitters, that kind of stuff right here. So the wing extension makes it very nice to help keep all your equipment out of the rain and the elements here in Louisiana. So as you can see, it's a pretty phenomenal building. I mean, the structural design and construction of it is just second to none. I mean, when my building inspector came out, who was a 25-year framer, when he first walked into this building, he just told me his mouth fell open for about 60 seconds, and he just said, "I have never seen a building built like this before anywhere." And he said, "I know where I'm coming to if we have a hurricane coming through here," because we stayed in here during Francine last year, and this building never moved, it never creaked, it never popped. We've never had a single leak throughout the whole building, so we're just extremely ecstatic about our experience with Mallett buildings. So if you're thinking about getting a barn-dominium or even an accessory buildings, I cannot say anything much better about Mallett buildings other than they are just simply the best, and you're going to have money well spent if you go with Mallett buildings.
Hey everybody, I'm here with our truss and wood inspector, and today we're going to give you a little bit of information from what he sees on his end of everything. So if you don't mind for the people, what is your name and what is your role?
My name is David Atwood. I'm a field inspector for timber products.
Awesome. So as a field inspector, what is the importance of your role in this environment?
Well, basically to make sure it's built correctly. So when they're building a home, it's not built incorrectly where there's a fault, your boards are cracking when they're walking over them, or basically your roof just falls in because it's not built correctly.
That's an important feature as well.
Oh yeah.
So when you're inspecting things like the trusses, what are some few things that you're looking for to make sure they're up to good quality?
Verify the plate sizes, using the proper plate sizes. They're using all the same product, and verifying there's not any huge gaps or anything within the truss of the building. So when basically something lands on it, something heavy, or somebody walks on it, it's not splitting apart and breaking.
Okay, so consistency and quality of product.
Correct. Yes.
So aside from those things, how is what you do important in the environment such as Mallett buildings?
Well, in environment or just basically all around, if basically consistencies.
Okay.
When they're building a home, they're not having to build an extra outlier because the trusses aren't equal, they're not the same.
Got you. So you may be the perfect person to answer this question. We always tell people almost every day that our trusses are kiln dried, heat treated, #1 lumber. As an inspector and quality control essentially, what does that mean to you?
Well, that's some of the best lumber you can get because #1's besides actually stud lumber, but it's still, that's still prime #1. Those are really, it's all good lumber. It shows that you're buying the top quality. You're not going with #3s and #2s, lower quality, which some people do go with.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate what you do, and let's get back to work.
Thank you very much. You have a nice day.
You too.
My name is Lee Melvin. I'm from Dayton, Texas. Well, I've been researching getting a pole barn for about 2 years, and I got many quotes. Most of those quotes were written down on scratch pieces of paper. They were texted, but it wasn't until I reached out to Mallett Building that I got a real quote with real drawings, 12-page drawings for the building, and that showed me that I had a legit builder and also the price was where I needed to be. One of the things that impressed me about Mallett Building is the fact that I'm a mechanical engineer, and so I expect the very best, and I'm one of the hardest guys to please from a home project standpoint. And I was amazed how Mallett Building met every expectation, because I am meticulous. I go over everything, and I could not find any issues with the way they build a building. It was amazing. The amount of lumber that's put into the building, very robust lumber package. There's no shortcuts. They did what they said they were going to do, and any issues you run into, they promptly take care of them. Just very easy to work with. I would recommend Mallett Building for any customer looking for a quality pole barn, and I may use them in the future to add a wing onto my building. So definitely worth the effort looking for Mallett Building.
If you've ever wondered what actually happens during a concrete pour, this is it from start to finish. And we did this pour in Lockport, Louisiana, which is about 3 hours from our location here in Iowa. To move the concrete to the back of the slab, the finishers create a temporary trough. We get questions all the time, why do we need a trough? You'll see here there's no way for the concrete to reach the back unless there is a trough. So it allows the concrete to flow where it needs to go without driving equipment across the forms or the prepared base. It's a common and effective method that protects the site while keeping the pour consistent from front to back. A lot of people are familiar with rebar, so that's usually what they expect to see. But for our slabs, we have a little different system that we use. Instead of traditional rebar, Mallett Buildings uses reinforced microfiber mixed directly into the concrete. Those fibers are distributed throughout the entire slab, so reinforcement is present everywhere and not just in one layer. As the concrete cures and naturally shrinks, the microfiber helps control movement and reduce cracking. Unlike steel, it doesn't rust or corrode, and it can't shift during the pour. It works together with proper prep and finishing to create a slab that performs consistently over time. That's why this is the system we use at Mallett Buildings.
So what the Mallett cable lock system does, it connects post to post around the entire building using 1/8 inch aircraft cable that's fastened to eye bolts at the base of each post. This, coupled with the concrete poured on top and the moisture barrier underneath, creates a perfect system called the Mallett cable lock system.
I'm here to inspect the concrete pour, and so I'm here to make sure that the concrete is done completely according to specs, that the owner is happy with not only the concrete, but the finish on the concrete, so that he can be happy with his concrete slab.
So you'll notice that there's an inspector on site during the pour. This one happens to be Mr. Glenn Duhon, and his role is to verify that the slab design, reinforcement system, and installation all match the approved plans, meet code, and make sure that the customer is happy. Inspections like this are not optional if you're going to be held to the same standard as Mallett Buildings, and they're something that we fully support. Once the concrete arrives, the pour starts in a controlled sequence. The concrete is placed in stages rather than all at once, which you will see there are a ton of concrete trucks that come through here. This helps maintain consistent thickness and prevents shifting or uneven areas. What you're watching here is how we pour slabs at Mallett Buildings with the owner on site and an inspector present to verify everything is done correctly. If you ever wondered what actually happens during a concrete pour, this is it. This slab is designed specifically for a post-frame building in Louisiana. So before the pour ever starts, the building footprint, door locations, and final elevations are all laid out and checked. Those measurements determine how the building will sit, how the doors will function, and how water sheds away from the structure. The forms you see here control the final shape and height of the slab. Everything is set to a specific elevation, and those elevations are checked before the concrete arrives. Once the pour starts, there's no adjusting this, which is why this step is so important. So concrete has a working window. It needs to be placed, leveled, and finished at the right time, not too early and not too late. The finishers are constantly adjusting based on temperature, moisture, and how the concrete is reacting, especially down here in the south. Screeding is what levels the slab and sets the final surface elevation. This step ensures that the slab is flat, uniform, and properly sloped where needed. Door areas receive extra attention because even small elevation issues can cause problems later. Finishing is really where the experience shows, so the surface is worked carefully to create a durable finish that will cure properly. Rushing this stage can weaken the surface, which is why it's done very methodically. Having the owner on site allows them to see exactly how the slab is poured and finished. Questions can be addressed in real time and expectations stay aligned throughout the process. That transparency is very intentional because we want our customers 100% satisfied. As the pour wraps up, final checks are made to confirm elevations, finish quality, and overall layout. At this point, the slab is left to cure properly, which is just as important as the pour itself. When most people start looking at a post frame or metal building, the first things they notice are the size, the price, and how it looks from the outside. What usually doesn't get talked about right away is how the building is actually put together, and that's really what determines how it performs long term. And if you're from the South, you know how important it is to be able to withstand a hurricane. And that's the part that we focus on at Mallett Buildings. We've been building post frame structures for over 26 years, and over that time we've seen what works, what doesn't, and where the problems usually start. Most issues don't come from one big mistake, they come from a lot of shortcuts. We offer 3 building levels, which are the Classic, Signature, and Elite, so customers can choose the level of features and warranty coverage that makes sense for how they'll use the building. But regardless of the tier, the core structure is built the same way. The framing is one of the biggest differences. We use tighter spacing on girts and purlins, deeper post embedment, and engineered truss systems designed for real loads, not just minimum requirements, and we actually manufacture those trusses here in-house in our site in Louisiana. Materials play a big role too. We use painted steel panels backed by manufacturer warranties, and we protect the areas of the buildings that are most exposed to moisture and ground contact. Those aren't things you always notice on day one, but they matter years down the road. We're also very open about our process. Owners are welcome on site, inspections are encouraged, and questions are handled as the work is happening. The transparency helps everyone stay on the same page. From permitting and design approval to material delivery, framing, and concrete, we follow a clear step-by-step process, and our customers always know what stage their project is in and what comes next. We also stand behind our work. Our workmanship warranties are tied to the level of building you choose. A lot of customers come to us after talking to other builders, because once they understand the differences in construction details, materials, and overall process, they can see where the real value is. If you're considering a post frame building and want to understand what you're really getting, not just square footage or floor plan, we are always happy to explain it, and that's how we do things at Mallett Buildings.
That's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please be sure to leave a like and follow our page. Turn that notification bell on so you never miss a video. We have so much going on here at Mallett, and we can't wait to share it with you. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tyler. I'm not going to be here next week, but of course, every day, Monday through Thursday, the Mallett live stream will still be going strong. So please be sure to tune in. Mr. Daryl, Trent, and everyone else here on the team has some phenomenal information for you guys, and we can't wait to share it. So again, please be sure to follow the page so you never miss it, and we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.